Good morning. My name is Terry Novi. I am your Director of Chapter Services, and today we're going to complete the mailed year-end report that you have requested. So to start off, we're going to, first part is your chapter number and your chapter name and your chapter leaders' names. Every chapter chooses one address, and the address will go here, as well as the telephone number. If it's a chapter line, you'd click this box. If it's someone's home or cell number, you would click the name and add that information in as well. We want your chapter website address, and if you have a Facebook page, please indicate if it's a public, closed, or secret. Next page is for your chapter leaders. We provided 4 boxes on the mailed report. So we need the chapter name, the address, the cell and home, and the email address. The next part is for the chapter newsletter. Does your chapter produce a newsletter? Yes or no? If no, explain why. Then we need to know how often the newsletter goes out, monthly, bi-monthly, how many do you mail, how many do you email, and is the national office on your mailing list? We'd like to have your editor's name and address and their contact information as well, cell and home and email address. This next information is very important because this is the information that we place on the national website. We need to know when the chapter meets, the date, the time, the location, and we like to know the average attendance, whether it's 5 or whether it's 25, and your largest. And then sometimes our chapters have more than one meeting location. And if so, then fill in that information, when you meet, where you meet, and the attendance as well, and who facilitates those meetings. We often share this information when someone calls the national office to find out information about their local chapter, and we share that information. They do a monthly newsletter, they meet twice a month, their average meeting attendance is 10 or 20, and it helps them become familiar with the chapter they're going to visit. Our next section is about the chapter leadership. We first want to know, does your chapter steering committee meet, and how often, and if not, why? And then we start out with the steering committee by identifying the chapter treasurer. Again, contact information, address, phone numbers, email, and you can also list your remaining steering committee members. And if you need to have an additional sheet of paper to list everybody, then that's great. Do that. Don't want to go too fast. Okay, this is part of the information that we share with our chapter referrals. Does your chapter offer a separate sibling meeting? Yes or no? What's the age group? And the meeting information, time, location. Does your chapter offer Spanish-speaking support? Yes or no? Would you like to be a contact on the national office website? And then any other subgroup that the chapter may offer, miscarriage, survivors of suicide, now childless, or another group. The next section is about the chapter programs. Do you host a chapter worldwide candlelighting on the 2nd Sunday in December? If so, what is your attendance, and would you like to share any details? And does your chapter offer any other special programs, perhaps a Mother's Day, Father's Day, a summer event, a fall event, that sort of information? Whoops. Okay. Chapter Leadership Training Program. Would any of your chapter steering committee members like to attend one? Would your chapter be interested in hosting a program? And some comments. This information is about your regional coordinator. Have they been in contact? Share information about your relationship, how often you talk, or if you don't talk, or do you need to know who your regional coordinator is? And the last section, which will complete part one, is the chapter feedback. Is there anything you would like us to know? How can we better serve your chapter? This information sometimes is answered individually on your year-end report thank you letter, or sometimes it's addressed in a group email, top 10 requests from the year-end report. Okay, next we're going to go to part two. So if you have your Excel spreadsheet, now would be the time to pull that out. So the first question we're going to ask is, how many single donations of $250 or more did the chapter collect? That's one single donation. If you haven't sent a copy of your thank you letter to the national office, you can attach it to the report when you mail it in. Line 2 is the beginning balance of all the chapter held accounts. That would have been the ending balance from last year's year-end report. So you're going to start with that. Next is the ending balances from the end of the year. So if your bank account does not end at 12/31, you may need to include your January statement from the new year. So let's go down to the income received. Most of your income on line 8 is your love gifts, your individual donations. That's where most of your donations will be recorded. If you've collected any online donations, that would go here and then the source. If you did a fundraising project, we allow a couple of lines for that, and maybe you did a tag sale or something like that. Your income would go here, minus your expenses, and that's your net. Now, because you've listed your expense here, on the other side of the form, there's a place where you can list expenses. Don't list it again. Do not list it twice. If you've hosted or been involved in a regional conference, income here, any interest, and any other place that you would have collected funds. Line 15 will give you your unrestricted income for the year. Now, restricted funds are, at the time of the donation, the donor specifies the purpose for the funds, and it can only be used for that particular cause. So you list the purpose, whether it is worldwide candlelighting, newsletter, the date that you started the fund, and any income from the previous year. What was your ending balance? What you collected in the year, your expenses, and what's left. Now, this particular part where you deducted in that year your expenses, that must be included under expense column on the flip side of this form. Add your income together, and this is your total restricted income for the year. So you add these together, and this is your total income for the entire year. You multiply 10% from your unrestricted funds, and that is the annual membership fee that you pay. If it's less than $100, we ask that you can round it up. Back up here is your in-kind donations. We really don't want you to have to keep track of every stamps or books or anything like that. We're really looking for donations that have a value of $250 and up. And an in-kind donation would be if someone came to sing for your worldwide candlelighting, they didn't charge you, they provided a service. So it's not cash, it's not check, it's service. So that completes the front page. And now we're going to go back down. The flip side is the expenses. Now the first line 22 is what you paid last year, not what you're paying this year. And did you make an extra donation to the organization? Your rent, follow the expenses down. Any bank service charges, your printing, your postage, your books, any kind of cell phone or telephone expense. Did you send someone to a conference, a training program? And then we provide a line where you can add in 2 other expenses that are not covered in the list above. I ask that you not group $500 and we need an explanation of what the expenses are. And this will give you your total expense for the year. Okay, sometimes you may not be able to make it to the bank. So if you collected something in December but could not get it into the bank until January, you would put that amount here, but make sure you include it in your income on the flip side. Sometimes your checks may not clear by the end of the year, and if that's the case, you list the amount and you list the check number. So back up here, if you have anything that you want to explain that will help clarify an expense or income, you would put that in the note field over here. So what we're doing here is, this is your beginning balance, this is your total income, this is minus your expenses, and this is your report total. Now, this report total should go slowly. It should equal the amount total of all chapter held accounts as of the end of the year. So if it doesn't, that will give you the opportunity to have an adjusted bank balance by any checks that didn't clear. We put that over here. This balance will be picked up and go on next year's report. We ask that the treasurer and the chapter leader sign, and that completes your financial report, which is part 2 of the year-end report. Now, every year, yikes, every year, I don't know where that one go away. Every year we have a new anti-terrorism compliance report on file here at the national office. And we have the chapter leader and the treasurer sign the report and date it each year. So we're in full compliance with the IRS. Now, this report is due March 1st, by March 1st. So if you have any questions, you can certainly call the national office, or you can email us at tcfyers@compassionatefriends.org. And then all questions concerning your year-end report can be addressed on that email. I forgot to say one thing that's very important, and that is that you must include all of the chapter bank statements for the year. And if you can't get your report to balance, no worries, because we'll be able to balance that based off of your bank statements. So that is how you complete the mailed-in year-end report. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I look forward to receiving your reports very soon. Again, I'm Terry Novi from the Compassionate Friends National Office, Director of Chapter Services. Thanks for tuning in today.